Hello, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear students and parents. Today, my name is Alexander Zeltov. It's actually every day, that's my name. I'm the founder and CEO of Educate Online, and it's my pleasure to introduce our guest for the Fireside chat that we're going to do today. It's Umang Bhatt, and he will tell us lots of great things about AI and will talk about your story, of course, Umang, and the practical implications of AI and education and other places. Welcome to our virtual studio, and it's lovely to meet you today.
It's great to meet you as well. Thank you for having me.
So this is the first sort of meeting that we're going to record, and it will be a fireside chat format for today. And then there will be another video coming later where we are going to share more exciting news about the programs that we're going to launch together with Umang, Bluebridge, and Cambridge University. And I'm sure it'll be an amazing start of the new year for all the students involved. At the same time, this video will focus on your journey, Umang, and basically we'll get to know each other and we'll learn from your experience. And of course, I don't want to do just a super long intro. At the same time, from my side, I can say that I've been fascinated with the growth of AI since I've been at uni in the UK, which was probably like 10 years ago, maybe 12, 11. Because back then, a lot of my friends actually started launching AI companies, and it wasn't high back then. At the same time, I saw the immense opportunities of automation, customization, and I saw lots of opportunities that will be coming in the future. And where we stand now with Educate Online is we want to actually bring the leading AI technologies and ML technologies and engines to drive the student experiences further and to bring lots of growth and personalization to the student studies. So we as a company at Educate Online, we are really digging into how we can make it work for international students and what kind of benefits can the latest technologies that we use or we develop bring to students. So that's a bit about AI from our side. Umang, can you please tell and share your story, personal life story, perhaps, and personal introduction, as well as Umang and AI, and kind of where did the journey start and where is it going at this moment?
Yeah, thank you for having me today. Yes, it's interesting to talk about AI and hear everybody be excited about it these days. So as you mentioned, I'm Umang. I recently joined New York University as a faculty fellow after finishing my PhD at Cambridge. I mostly think a lot about AI these days, and really more precisely about how not to use AI, and identifying when someone shouldn't use AI systems because it might be inappropriate due to safety reasons or due to any other reason that might be in place due to regulation, cost, just maybe our expertise is already in a particular area and therefore we don't necessarily want to use those types of systems to affect our decision making. My journey with AI kind of started back at university. I spent time at Carnegie Mellon, where I did my undergrad and master's. Carnegie Mellon has a notoriety in the computer science community for being a hub for artificial intelligence research and developing a lot of strong engineers who can actually go out there and build these systems. So kind of was really exposed to it there and immersed in it. I think at one point in time, the Carnegie Mellon had like a school of computer science. It was one of the first in the world. It had about 200 professors thinking about this. And that kind of level of exposure really lets you start thinking more deeply about maybe some of the societal implications of these technologies. And that's kind of what I focused on for my PhD, which was titled Trustworthy Machine Learning from Algorithmic Transparency being one important component of trustworthy machine learning to decision support, to using these tools to support our decision making. I guess, yeah, so that's just a little bit about my initial journey there. One of the things I just want to add is it's great to hear the kinds of programs you're working on. I am excited about providing individuals access to education in ways that help hold people accountable for education. I think just developing content and distributing it is a little bit different than providing people with a platform for using these tools and providing these learning experiences all over the world. Our college at Cambridge that I used to be a part of was probably it touts itself as one of the most diverse colleges. Probably roughly 90 different countries represented in a student body of about 600. So really get exposure to lots of different individuals. And I think with AI, it's important to kind of bring those diverse perspectives to the table. And that requires various forms of diversity, which include geographic diversity, because I think it's really important to have exposure and access to these kinds of tools. So I'm excited to be on this platform chatting with you today.
Thank you so much, Umang. I have so many questions. I'm not sure we have that much time to discuss all of them, but let's start. So it's great to see how you and other professors have already contributed to the field and worked on this early on. When we talk about the recent developments, I think you started looking at AI when it was not the hype, so to say, not the everyday hype that it gets right now. And what kind of major developments have you seen maybe in the last year or two in regards to AI and the practical implications of it for businesses or for, let's say, education for students and parents? And what do you kind of see in terms of the practical application moving forward, let's say, in a year? Will we see a gradual shift, or will it be sort of a skyrocketing machine that will take ours to kind of heights never imagined?
Yeah, no, great question. I personally think that we have probably seen a larger wake-up call to the fact that we've been using these technologies as opposed to an increased pervasive use of these technologies. And what do I mean by that? I think people are becoming more aware that they're interacting with these systems. And I think we as a society are starting to reckon with whether we're comfortable offloading some decisions onto these systems. Are we really comfortable with the YouTube ranking our children's advertisements or the shows that are shown to children? And perhaps it's actually a great thing. It's really showing us maybe I'm at the 3rd grade level and I actually am performing at the 5th grade level in terms of my mathematics abilities, for example. So in some sense, it can be a blessing or a curse, but I think we're reaching a point where people are becoming more aware of these systems. When it comes to developments, I think we've seen an increase in the styles of the mechanisms by which people interact with more general purpose learners. So instead of something as specific as like ranking or news feeds on Facebook or Twitter or now X or LinkedIn even, you're actually starting to see larger consumer applications of these technologies. So there always was an ability to build great chatbots. They've always been there. We just have more realistic ones now. And as systems become more realistic, we start to realize that, wait, this is actually an artificial intelligence system, or it is maybe not an AI system or intelligent in any way, but it's definitely artificial. So what you start to see is that some of these tools actually end up being exposed and shown to individuals, and you start to kind of have what we call disclosure in the AI community. You start to be like disclosed to the fact that, hey, actually, I'm using these tools in these particular ways. And am I okay with them? So I think that reckoning has come simultaneously with better consumer tools like ChatGPT, Bard, Claude, which you might have heard of, which are really awesome. I mean, they're very impressive and really great to see that when you scale up systems, you can get really good performance. Yeah, that's kind of what I'll say on that.
Awesome. And when we talk about, let's say, students who are now at high school level or university level, who understand that probably they might be studying for jobs that don't even exist yet, from if we look at it from one perspective, because now, let's say you get into, you're 16 years old. By the time you start some work, you'll be like 20, 21. So many things will change, right, by that point in time. So definitely the parents and the students, they want to equip themselves with the latest skills. At the same time, kind of they want to make sure that these skills will actually be needed by the time they will graduate, and they can use these skills to increase their learning, work, and personal capabilities. So what do you think when it comes to high school students or early university students? what can be the benefit for them to get into this sphere and just to start to study it, to apply AI, and how deep should they go?
Yeah, I am in the category of being a first principles person. So I think that simultaneously you want to be down in the weeds of understanding how these systems work, and also really starting to understand the way they're used and particular societal implications of using them. When you get down into the weeds, I've had students in the past with programs I've run, both in the courses that I taught, but also with like the students I've mentored. People always realize that actually the brunt of AI is a lot of compute and a lot of mathematics. And it is a great wake-up call for people to really realize and understand how these systems work. So some of the basics haven't changed for forever. So I think it's really important to get those fundamentals strong on statistics and just basic probability, along with calculus and some of the other mechanisms. And those kinds of things might not change. And the good thing is these tools like ChatGPT can actually be repurposed to better accelerate our learning of those concepts, along with just courses like this that we've been running. So if we can get you up to speed on like the basics, then you can start thinking about novel applications and better get to a point where 10 years from now, the job that we just maybe don't know exists, you kind of well equipped with the basics when it comes to that. And I think one of the things that we try to champion, especially in the type of work we do, it doesn't necessarily matter if you know the basics, but one of the things that does matter is you understand how these systems work and how they're applied. And when you think about how they're applied, you can start being more precise about understanding who's affected by these systems, thinking about questions around fairness, transparency, and accountability of AI systems. So that kind of exposure from a younger age, which is something that we've started thinking about, but also there's a bunch of other folks championing, like the Center for Responsible AI at NYU and the Center for Data Science here, the Leverum Center for the Future of Intelligence at Cambridge. These are great institutions that are starting to think about the implications of these technologies, not just building them from first principles. And there's a bunch of other great people who've been thinking about this, but really getting exposed to both of those things early on will like set you up for success, because even if the system changes, you still know the basics. And if the system changes, you still know how it's affecting people, and it'll start to affect people in ways we can't foresee today. We couldn't have seen the commercial and consumer success, maybe not commercial yet, but consumer success of something like ChatGPT. Maybe some folks could have been able to forecast that, but now that that's there, what's next? And better understanding the implications it's having now, better understanding how it works and the fundamentals of predictive systems, simple machine learning models, AI agents is going to be quite important.
Wow, that's great. And now, when you look back at time, sort of think, oh, if I knew what calculus means, I would study it harder at school level, doing my A levels or at university level. So to say. So it's really profound that whatever students study at school level, like algebra and or some advanced like further maths, it can be later applied because it's the first principles that matter.
Yeah, first principles is the name of the game.
If you wanna be good at AI or excellent at AI, start with first principles. That's great advice. And
well, at anything really, and anything really, you need to perfect your scales before you can be a good musician. I mean, you need to have exposure to these to the basics before you can start innovating. But you can also innovate from thinking about the implications of how we want to use these tools, and then learn the first principles accordingly. So the order of operations doesn't matter, but making sure you have both is a non-negotiable.
Awesome. I'll have one more question, and then we'll get to introduce just a tiny bit about the program that we're going to run soon together. So how do you envision, let's say, if we look 5 years into the future, it's year 2028, what are the major changes that will sort of happen, looking from your perspective as being both a professional in artificial intelligence, first principles, as well as understanding how not to use AI? So what would you like to see as a positive result, and what would you like to sort of put a red flag on and make sure that doesn't happen?
Yeah, I think I'd love to see more. I think we'll start to see more regulation in the next 5 years around these technologies, and I think that'll require a better understanding of that societal implications that we were discussing. In addition to regulation, I imagine we'll see differences in the ways in which we interact with these systems, like the affordances and the interfaces we use to interact with them. Maybe we'll move more towards voice. We might move towards new devices that'll hit the market, but they're changing the way we interact with these large general purpose learners. So maybe they're not specific systems that do ranking, but rather there's something like ChatGPT that can be queried for a vast amount. It's just a different way of interacting with the internet. And if you think about the societal implications level, you'll start to see that it doesn't necessarily reflect reality the way we want it to. So perhaps there are certain questions, queries that we deem unsafe as society that we don't let people use or ask to these types of systems. And when we'll start to deploy them, it will become more and more obvious that regulation is going to be important for keeping those safeguards in place. But at the same time, I think we'll see a resolution or a continued toil. I don't actually know which one, between the communities of who want to build open source AI systems and those who want to regulate these systems. And I think that a lot of the individuals who are currently studying the fundamentals will get to be part of those conversations along with the rest of the demos and the rest of the citizenry we have. We're going to be excited to contribute and use these systems with new affordances, new devices, pins, and things like that.
Wow. I mean, I would love to study something of that nature. The thing is, of course, that we are launching a course that will be relevant to high school students, so ages 14 to 18. And we'll do it in partnership with Bluebridge Education and QTech, one of the colleges of Cambridge University. Umang will be the leading faculty member to teach this course, which will be spun over 8 sessions, 8 weeks, with 2 hours per session, and anyone worldwide will be able to access it. And during the next live stream that we're going to do with Umang, we'll tell you more about what that course is going to be about. So we'll have more insights for you, and you'll understand as a parent, as a student, or maybe as a faculty member, because we're really open to schools introducing this as part of their curriculum or enriching their curriculum worldwide. So we'll have more info on that. And now, Umang, if you may, we have a couple of questions we collected from the audience. So we'll probably touch on a couple. And so one of the questions is, what kind of support or resources will be available to students during and after kind of studying such a course to further their exploration of AI? Let's say just if a student, I understand it's a question that is course specific, at the same time we got it. So let's answer. So let's say you get a student who's now in point A, they're just a great high school student, they're really into physics, maths, further maths, and they have excellent grades and passion for the subject. And let's say they do this course over 8 weeks, and what will they actually learn, and what kind of skill set can they come out with after 8 weeks doing the course?
I think the way I like to think about it is 8 weeks is a short amount of time, but it'll be exposure to lots of different topics pertaining to the foundations of AI, both theory being that basics that we talked about, responsibility being that societal implications, and sustainability being an important component to building a better, brighter future. So imagine you'll get a taste of those topics, be able to figure out what you're interested in within the AI sphere. But I also think that this will be a good opportunity to get exposed to the ways university classes are taught. You'll be exposed to a bunch of experienced and seasoned teachers that we have lined up for you guys to think more deeply about AI as it pertains to each of these different topics. So I think the way to think about it is it's a good taste tester for the breadth of AI, and then hopefully in future there'll be opportunities both at the university level, but maybe even Educated Online to kind of dig deeper into each of those categories. So for those who are interested, this is a perfect opportunity to get that exposure from world-class experts.
Wow, that's great. Thank you so much, Umang. And just one more question. Do you see that, let's say, the field of academics is connecting better in regards to AI to the field of business, so to say? Because what I see now in different, let's say, pitch decks of AI companies that I receive, and they want to raise some money or they want to share their idea, at first, on the second slide, in the first slide, they'll tell what they're doing. And the second slide, they'll show the names of the faculty, of the engineers that are working for that company and that are already on this journey with them. And you'll see lots of company names, but you'll also see lots of university names there. So it's I see that there is definitely, from my perspective as a founder, I see that there is some higher level of involvement. What's your take on this? Is this dialogue really happening? Is this collaboration happening at this moment, or we got to strive for even better collaboration?
Yeah, I think it's a mix. I think we've done a good job of collaborating and thinking about kind of spinning out from academia organizations that have been grounded in that theory, and they're starting to think about the implications of the tools that are being built. But I think there's always room for improvement with these kinds of things, and building more like synergistic environments where you can productize some of the work that comes out and commercialize it is definitely within scope, and will only improve over the next few years.
Wow. Thank you so much, Umang. It's been great to chat to you today, to meet you. And thank you everyone for watching. Please watch out for the next live stream that we are going to do about the program itself, where we will dive into the different details of the program. And we'll talk more about how studying AI with Cambridge, QTech, Bluebridge, and Educate Online, as well as with Umang, can help your kids or your school, your students reach their dreams in the future. Thank you so much, Umang. It's been a great pleasure to meet you, and thank you so much for all the insights.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Cheers.